Hey everyone, welcome into a special World Series Media Day edition of Long Ball. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun sports columnist Steve Simmons and Toronto Sun Blue Jays writer Rob Longley, somehow surviving the circus here at Rogers Centre, guys, with hundreds of media descending upon Toronto for this event. But Rob, it is an event. It is the World Series, the first time in 32 years here in Toronto. A lot of the talk is about the Dodgers and all their star power, Shohei Ohtani, Roki Sasaki, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. The list goes on and on, but the Blue Jays also have their own star in Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and that seems to be where a lot of the attention is going here. Shohei and Vlad, the two behemoths meeting in this World Series.
Yeah, and I think that's a great storyline, isn't it, Rob? I mean, you've got the ALCS MVP facing off against the NLCS MVP. You've got Shohei Ohtani, who, of course, was recruited by the Blue Jays almost 2 years ago and decided on the Dodgers instead. And just the whole scene, you alluded to it in the introduction, Rob. It's like Steve and I have both been to Super Bowls and we've both been to World Series, but we've never been to either of them with the home team being involved in it, with the Blue Jays being involved in it. And it's, unless you have, were you there in 92? I stand corrected. He's older.
In 92, this day was in Atlanta.
Right.
In 93, it was here, and not dissimilar from today, other than the fact that I think it was more crowded today than I remember it being in 93, but the excitement doesn't change. The excitement of a city getting to the World Series, and this year in particular, getting to the World Series when you weren't expected to get there. In 93, after winning in 92, that team was kind of expected to be great. And so getting there didn't have the same feeling of freshness or excitement that this has right now. And Rob mentioned Vladimir Guerrero. Well, what we've seen so far is Vladimir Guerrero out-hitting Aaron Judge in round one, out-hitting and outperforming Cal Raleigh in game two. We're talking about the two best players in the American League far and away this year, and in Judge's case for many years. And Vladdy outperformed both. And now it's Vladdy, Ohtani, and all the other great Dodgers as well. And let's see what happens.
And back to your point, Rob, like the whole show, I was down there for the Dodgers media availability, and I swear for Ohtani, they were 10 to 12 people deep. You had to have elbows up to get anywhere close to hear him talk in Japanese to his translator, who would translate it to English. But that's the way it is with Shohei Ohtani when you're a global superstar wherever you go, and it's even more so now. Now that he's with the Dodgers, now that he's won a World Series, now that he did what he did in the fourth game of the NLCS, it's just, he is going to be central to just about everything that happens here.
Well, the MVP of last year's World Series is the semi-Canadian Freddie Freeman. And he was talking about Ohtani in his media availability today and said he had 3 home runs in one game in the National League Championship Series, and he threw, the shutout innings with 10 strikeouts. He said, he did 2 things in one game I can't do at any time in my life or my career, which tells you what this guy, how he's on a different planet than everybody else. The 3 home runs, that's one of the great hitting games of all time. The 10 strikeouts or whatever the number was, that's one of the great pitching games of all time in the playoffs. And he did both the same day.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. So we go from the hitting matchup to the pitching matchup, and at least for game number 1, it's going to be the fireballer left-hander Blake Snell for the Dodgers. On the Blue Jays side, Trey Yesavage getting another start, Steve. It's just remarkable at this point, the fact that this guy continues to perform in the playoffs despite being so young, despite having so little experience. But it's almost as if each start that he almost gets better in a way as far as understanding how to navigate lineups. The Yankees start was truly one to behold, but the last start out against the Seattle Mariners in a big must-win game, that showed a lot to me. What are you expecting from him in game 1 of the World Series?
The one thing that you've seen from Trey Yesavage is supreme confidence in what he does, and the belief is that he's better than the people he's facing. And he walks out, this whole Blue Jays story is from the Museum of the Hard to Believe. So you add in a guy is starting the World Series after making 4 regular season starts? This has happened before, oddly enough, usually in a 4th game or a 5th game when you have to find a starter. Who are we going to start today? Oh, let's pick that guy. No, this is their choice for game 1. This is the guy they want pitching game 1. And as Pete Walker said today when I asked him, the pitching coach, he said, if you had told me this 3 months ago, I would have told you you're insane. and that's where they are.
Yeah, there really is. Just distracted there for a minute. Bo Bichette is behind us here taking live batting practice, which is probably going to decide whether he's on the roster tomorrow. We'll talk about that in a minute. But with Yesavage, it really is an incredible story. Just pitching at all 4 minor league levels. He joked about it today. He says, "You should see the back of my pickup truck," because essentially he's driven it from Florida to, he wouldn't have driven it to Vancouver, but to New Hampshire, and again to Buffalo, and now on to Toronto. All he's done is lived in hotel rooms in all of these different minor league cities. And he's also joked about the fact that he knows more people in the organization than anybody does, because he's played with them all this year. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He's handled every increase in sort of volume around his assignments, and he'll be good with that tomorrow. I wrote a story about him that's up on TorontoSun.com right now. His first game this year was at low A ball in Florida in front of 300 people. Tomorrow there's going to be 45,000 here and tens of millions watching around the world. It's a fascinating rise.
And what amazes me watching him is not that he throws strikes and then he keeps the ball, in position for strike, is that when he misses, he doesn't miss by a lot. He misses by a few inches here and there. He's not a guy who's wild at all. Who's like, his command of the strike zone and close to the strike zone for a 22-year-old is extraordinary. And again, this is a great. You look at the middle of the Dodgers roster, hitting, whatever order they choose with Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Those are 3 guys probably going to the Hall of Fame, and they haven't had that with the Yankees, and they haven't had that with Seattle. This is another test for Yesavage, and I don't think there's anything now that he's not big enough for.
So Rob mentioned it right behind us, Bo Bichette taking live batting practice, and hopefully by the time this game happens tomorrow, and we obviously know what's going to be the situation, that this video will still be okay, that we're talking about Bo Bichette potentially being on the roster. But it seems like, Rob, things are progressing in the right way. We've even seen him take ground balls at second bases a little bit, which is surprising because at the major league level that hasn't been the case for Bo, but in the minors he played there. What's your best guess and your feeling, talking to people around the team, where things stand with Bo right now as we're less than 24 hours away from first pitch?
Yeah, Steve and I just talked about this as well, Rob. There's very low risk, and unless he's hurt, unless he can't handle what he's doing today, there's low risk in putting him on the roster. I mean, a Bo Bichette at 60% is better than Joey Loperfido at 110%. Let's be honest, and that's not a slight in Joey Loperfido. And also, you can sort of project forward. If he's feeling good today, he's improved incrementally day by day. So even if you don't use him in games 1 and 2, even if you have him only as a pinch hit option, if you think he's going to be good for Game 3 on Monday or that much better, you keep Bo Bichette on in the lineup and let him go. Now, the only other thing is, what does Bo Bichette want to do? He's going to be a free agent after this year. He's not going to want to do any damage to this knee. John Schneider told us today that he trusts his player. So after he's done here today, they're going to have a conversation, and they're going to decide, is he physically fit? Is he strong enough? Is he healthy enough? Is he game enough to be on that roster? That's what's going to happen.
From the time they were teenagers playing together, Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. have talked about winning a championship together. They didn't mean double-A championship.
No, which they won.
They met the big one, and this is their chance. And maybe Bo can't do everything because he was not well enough, and I suspect you won't see him at shortstop if he's on the roster. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him at second base or at designated hitter, which means George Springer playing the outfield. And you got to realize, when Bo Bichette went down with injuries, he was first in all of Major League Baseball in hits. He was top 3 in so many categories, including doubles. This guy's a pure hitter. And if you add a pure hitter to your lineup, I don't care how you do it defensively and how many people you move around, it makes your lineup better. And you know what? I would rather, if you're throwing somebody a 3-2 outside on the corner pitch, that 8 out of 10 guys are striking out to, Bo's driving it into right field for a base hit or a double.
Agreed.
Yeah, look, as Steve said earlier, this whole season's been in the Museum of Hard to Believe, and I think if you told people at the start of September when Bo got hurt that he would be appearing in a World Series game potentially, not sure how many people would have believed, one, that the Jays are in the World Series,
right,
and that Bo Bichette could be ready to play on Friday night. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Steve Simmons, Rob Longley, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.